What is going on, guys? My name is WOLFWILL and welcome back to another video. Whether it is your first time here or you are a returning viewer, I hope you're having a great day or a great night so far. So today's video is one I have been looking forward to doing for quite a bit of time now, and that is finally doing an in-depth look of my Hinterclaw critical bleed build or critical survivor build. It works either way. This is one that I've been working on for a while, but I am continuing to work on Hinterclaw to this day. But without further ado, I think we'll jump right into it and I'll showcase what I've got. And yeah. Alrighty guys, so we are here in GODFALL. So this is going to be my first official build showcase. I've done a couple of videos in the past, as you guys may have seen. If you haven't, the links will be in the description below. But without further ado, we're going to dive on into what, as I mentioned, I refer to as my critical bleed build, or I reckon a full name would be like a critical survivor. So here is what I have for Hinterclaw. So generally, my main focus for him was, obviously, as we know, his specialty is he has that extra critical hit chance. And then, of course, when you activate his Archon Fury, you get the extra 30% critical hit chance, along with an additional 15% critical hit damage every time you defeat an enemy, which gets to a max 150%. So what I wanted to focus on was ensuring that he had a high critical damage output, but at the same time ensuring that he would have key survival, because this is something essential for the Ascended Tower trials. So if you guys look in the key stats, at the moment we have a 54.8% chance for critical hit, along with 360% critical hit damage. So I'll show you why I have that much and what actually is the reason for it. Then you get your weak point and your soul shatter and lifestone recovery, which is generally okay. I have 2 legendary augments used for Hinterclaw. Now, for those who obviously play the game, being of course you watching at home, Hinterclaw only has 7 slots for augments, whereas everybody else in the game has 9, so doesn't really allow for too many augments to use in regards to what I normally do, because I usually try to fill up the 100 exactly. So I normally do 1 legendary, 3 epics, and then 5 rares, but in this case I've got 2 legendaries, 2 legendaries, 1 epic, and then 4 rares. So we'll get to those in a moment, but you can see here Carnage is one of the reasons why I have so much critical hit. But my main sword is the Sword of Courage. So this is one of my favorite swords in the game. It's not a cursed one, or rather an awakened sword, but this still does pretty well, especially in a primal state. So whenever I inflict bleed, you shoot up to 2 projectiles, obviously it does this much damage, and the weapon techniques inflict ailments. So ailments was something that was big for me to focus on for this build. And then of course I focused on bleeding enemies and increasing that critical chance. His secondary weapon is the Ezol's Cobalt Great Maul. So this one, he restores health whenever he defeats an ailment afflicted enemy. So this goes with the survivability side of things, and once again, weapon techniques inflict ailments. So adding that ailment power to it was something I didn't mind doing, because that just ensures his bleed could be pretty damn good, as I would describe it. Now, because he performs critical hits a lot, the Lion Talisman was something I thought was pretty essential. So this goes towards weapon technique charge and charge speed, which then links in towards being able to inflict bleed as much as possible and as much damage in general. So what was good about this one was that the secondary traits allowed me to have that extra critical hit damage, including the critical chance. And then we get to my awakened legendary amulet, the Armorer's Amulet. So this is actually originally a rare item, but then you can enchant it all the way up to legendary after you've lifted the curses. So we got the ailment, critical hit damage, and the banner duration. And this one, same thing with a critical hit, but allows me to have my shield charged up faster. So basically, this works really well with the critical hits. And then we got the Dawnlord Signet. So this goes perfect with a bleed build. So whenever you defeat an enemy with a takedown, they explode, inflicting bleed and dealing this much physical damage to nearby enemies, which works so well. This helps give me a bit of Archon damage. I increase the damage to bleeding, and then I also ensured I got some physical damage added as well. And then after this one, we have the Dust Lord Signet. So you expose the enemy's weak points whenever you inflict an ailment. So this will also help me to get that extra damage. And obviously you guys can do the same thing if this is sort of the type of build you're thinking of for Hinterclaw, because he's got a high critical chance as it was. And obviously he's probably the hardest to work on because obviously he doesn't have as many augment slots as everybody else, but you can still make him work really well. So I sort of went with weapon technique damage here because that was pretty essential. It's one of my favorite things to work on in this game. And then your Cosmic Ether Stone, basically that just increases the Archon Fury charge speed and damage. Now, there are a couple of other ones that can be used because I believe there are a couple of critical ones. Yeah, so Archon's Tier, and I do have a primal version, so technically I should be using this one instead because that would help make him even more powerful. So I don't know why I haven't decided to use this, but I should change to that. And then, of course, the banner is probably one of my favorite ones. So the increased critical hit chance and critical hit damage. So that 360% that we have, if we stand inside the banner, that's going to take us to pretty much 422%, which is going to be even better. And then, of course, one of the last things I have for it is I restore health whenever you defeat an enemy. Once again, going towards survivability. Then we get to the Augment. So you guys saw that I have Carnage, and specifically, you get the increased critical hit damage for every 20 might on adjacent augments. And the best position to put this one in would have to be the middle. Now here's the thing. You could put, if you were to go with something like this, you could put Carnage or Void Shell in the center here because both of them work really well. So I chose to go with this because if any of your other augments have got extra might here, for example, that actually links towards the Carnage one in the middle here. So that was something I thought was pretty smart to do. And then the positioning of this Void Shell also works perfectly. So whenever you perform a critical hit, you gain 11 overhealth for every 20 might on adjacent augments. So once again, this could work in the middle as well. Like you could put Carnage, if I wanted to, I could put Carnage in the bottom right there, and I could put Void Shell in the middle, and that would still work either way. Well, I mean, I'd have to... No, not really, because you'd have to change a few positionings. Although, all of the outside ones are dedicated to a specific one. That middle one is whatever you want. But I think where Void Shell is for me, this works really well because it means I get a lot of overhealth. And then, Evisceration. So, or Evisceration, sorry. You get the Blessing of Power whenever you perform a critical hit. So that's going to ensure increased damage. That definitely works well for this build. And then you've got the Ironheart. So this was originally a Curse Augment, now awakened. This ensures you have a higher critical hit chance, but at the cost of Rampage charge speed. Now for this build, Rampage wasn't a big deal for me, but I can still get to it. Like, it's not hard to get to it still, but yeah, so it's not too bad. And then I can restore health whenever I hit an enemy with the shield, with Lucid Vision. Restore health whenever I place my banner, so another survivability. And then Rift. So 30% increased damage for each type of ailment on the enemy, which was perfect to go with Bleed. So obviously this is not a finished build. I could totally fix all of this. Like for example, I could change Lucid Vision to something else that I think would be more beneficial, because I've been working on multiple characters at the same time, such as like Mesa, Silvermane, Typhone, but Hinterclaw has always been my main guy. I've always enjoyed playing him. But then we get to detailed stats real quick. So I get about 127% for his weapon techniques, followed by his shield throw. We got about 50% there. His takedowns are almost 50% as well. Archon is not overly too bad. His banner over health, obviously, like, it's 12% extra, but the survivability with all the other things I have do help go towards ensuring he stays alive. And then, of course, critical hit, as we know, is the biggest thing that I worked on, because that's who he is. I basically call him the critical specialist. So what I'll do now is just basically give you guys a bit of a showcase once again of Hinterclaw in action. So that's what I've got for the Hinterclaw critical bleed build, or critical survivor, whichever one you want to call it. So what do you guys think? Obviously, as I've mentioned, this is still a work in progress, because I could totally make Hinterclaw better, especially with the fact that we have cursed items. There could be a couple that could actually work a lot better with this build, but if you guys are interested in seeing a different type of Hinterclaw build with, say, different ailments, or maybe focusing on a Soul Shatter like critical style build, or weak point critical, just let me know below. And if you want to see any other type of builds for other characters, let me know. I do have a couple in the works at the moment, so if you got anyone that you want to see me showcase, then yeah, just be sure to let me know. I had a lot of fun with this. I'm definitely going to continue to work on this, because there's so much to do, and my Ascension levels obviously are still going. We're currently at about 252, so that's as of this recording. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching once again. If you are new to the channel and you do like what you see, be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on bell notifications to get notified of all of my uploads. And with that, I hope you guys have a great day or a great night.